Welcome to Blind Level Tech. I'm Jonathan Price.
I'm Evan Starnes.
And together, we're bringing you news, tech, and information about blind technologies.
Being blind doesn't mean you have to stop living.
We're going to show you just how possible it is to live the life you want. Long time no chat, sir.
I know. Long, like 4 minutes.
I have fantastic news, man.
Oh, yeah?
I didn't get drunk. I'm sober as a rock. I'm good.
Me too.
New Year's was fun.
Yeah, it was.
Oh my goodness. I'm tired though. I'm exhausted.
Me too. It's gonna take me a couple days.
You know what's even more exhausting? I'm so nervous. Like we have this rollout, and we are now, as of this episode, Aftersight.
Yeah.
The company is Aftersight. Woo! Celebrate good times. And the show Aftersight that was Penn Street is now called The Blind Chick. So look for that. It's got a kind of a darker black and gray tile with a picture of Penn on it. And it says in big, bright yellow letters, The Blind Chick. So that's awesome. Make sure you check that out on all of your podcasting platforms.
Indeed.
Did you do anything fun for New Year's? I know you said you were going to hang out with your friend. How'd that go?
It went great. We did party hard. I'm still admittedly recovering.
Sure.
But yeah, we partied hard, did some stupid stuff, made some dumb audio, and I can't believe we did, but we were stupid and having fun. So why not?
Are you going to send me any of that dumb audio so that I can blackmail you and put it in the show?
Oh, gosh. Yeah,
well, I guess I shouldn't tell you if I'm going to blackmail you about it.
Yeah, you blew it.
well,
Whoops. Oh, well, happens.
New Year's brain is the first mistake I've made. So.
Oh, boy. Well.
The hard thing about going into this, I almost said merger, the hard about doing this like rebranding thing is there's so many things that we have to like hurry up and wait for. So like our email addresses, all of the branding, like we have to launch it all at the same time. And it's just this big, get everything prepped and then try to flip the switch. But that switch is like an old transistor radio and you're trying to figure out which one wire goes where and which dial needs to be on which thing. And like,
it's like a mercury switch. Those things are notoriously unreliable.
Yes, absolutely. But we are not unreliable here at Aftersight. We are the most reliable thing in podcasting industry for the blind and low vision community. So thank you and welcome to 2024. Holy crap, man.
Now, normally I'd say, I used to make fun of the whole new year, new me thing because that's so unrealistic. Come on, people. What I like to say is new year refined me.
Ooh, okay.
And so this month, oh boy, this is going to be a busy month. We're just starting out and I haven't even...
I know. We're already starting out. It feels like underwater. We're trying to catch our breath and we have no idea what's going on. And I'm sure we'll look up at the end of 2024 and be like, holy crap, what did we just do?
Yeah. And I'm also moving.
Nice.
This month.
That's right.
And the good thing is I can move in. Like they're not saying, you have to like pack up your things now and get
right.
But I have yet to pick up the keys, but I was able to put down the rent, and
dude, I'm so happy for you.
I'm happy, and I will be talking more about it. But I am moving into a nice little 1-bedroom in Louisville, and it's family owned, operated. I didn't know those were a thing, but I always advocate for supporting local and family owned businesses. Always,
absolutely, good call. Well, and it's a testament to you and being a kind of a guiding light for those who are low vision or blind that you did this. You started off as an intern here at Aftersight and you moved from internship into the position you're in now. And then you're going to move from that onto bigger and better things. And you have worked your butt off and you are being rewarded for that. So congratulations, man. I'm very excited for you. If you need any help moving, don't call me.
No worries.
The last several times that I've moved, I'm not kidding you, has ended in hernias and surgeries. So moving for me is a bad news bears situation.
Yeah, that would not be good.
No, it wasn't fun. But I mean, I'll still help you move if you really need help. I'll help you out.
And hey, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have housewarmings and all sorts of crazy stuff I got to figure out. So
I just require a 6-pack if I help you.
Oh yeah, no, we'll get a 12-pack, man.
There you go.
Not a 6-pack. You got to go big.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Well, Evan, we got a question in, and I'm going to read this question to you, and it kind of loosely ties into what we're going to be talking about today with the, I guess,
Top
coming
5 trends in tech.
5 trends in 2024. Got this email in. Susan in Longmont writes, Evan and Jonathan, love your show. Just listening to an episode on phones, and it helped me so much in deciding which one to get. She got an iPhone, I guess.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Glad you went with the iPhone, which I think the iOS 17.2 update, we should probably do an episode on. It's been a minute.
Yes.
So we should probably cover some of that stuff.
We'll crank it out.
Yeah, we'll make sure we get that.
There's some nice changes.
So here's her question. I have a question regarding AI and where you see it going in the coming months and into the year and how I can use it. Oh, okay. So I guess we'll start there. Where do you see AI going in the next couple months, in the couple years, and how can blind people use it?
Well, that is a great question, and it does tie into what we're talking about today. A lot of people think, AI is going to replace us and take our jobs, and no, I don't. I disagree with that statement.
Okay.
AI has already been helpful when it comes to things like audio production and like writing and a lot with accessibility. We'll get into that in a sec here. But I think it's going to – I mean, we're already seeing some crazy things with people building all these neural networks. And so I don't – normally I'd say, Moore's Law would be in effect, but I'm starting to wonder if Moore's Law is no longer a thing because it's growing at such an not an alarming rate, but a rapid rate. And I do see some advancements in self-driving technology for sure. Yep. We are working I did just see an article about models that are able to train smaller models, which I don't know how I feel about that, but I think it could help as far as we could use this for things like research and development of new technologies or what have you. I think it's definitely it's what I'd like to call a boom.
Yeah.
Because when smartphones came out, I mean, to be fair, they'd been out since the 90s with the original IBM Simon.
Yep.
But they never really took off until the iPhone came out, and then that's when Android came out a little less than a year later. And smartphones pretty much took off, and you could get them anywhere. And there were so many different brands and varieties and sizes and shapes, and and that's kind of how it's been with AI.
Well, and I think what's interesting about AI also is that we don't realize we've been using AI in some way or shape or form for a very long time. If you think about predictive text, that is AI generation.
AI.
I mean, you how long has assisted generative text been? I mean, it's been
well over 10 years.
Yeah, at least.
And spell check. I mean, even your spell checks are AI.
That's right.
It might be a little primitive and stuff, and then how that ties into the realm of accessibility and obviously, Be My AI is a great example, but there are plenty of others now out there, including Seeing AI. Well, Seeing AI is already AI. It's in the name, but they've now added some more generative AI features that allow you to ask it questions about a image that you just took. So that's
Which reminds me, we got to get Joe on the show.
Yeah, we do.
There's some major updates that are coming, and he's got to
I'd love to have
that.
We got to do a follow-up. We will be doing a follow-up. But I think AI is it's helping already, but it's going to be a game changer for accessibility.
Yeah.
In fact, this is a bit of a controversial topic, but there are checkers and various pieces of software. Now, I'm apologize for my arrogance here because I am not too familiar with this stuff, but AI supposedly is going to help in making existing services, whether it be a website or what have you, more accessible.
Yeah.
Because it can be taught the WCAG, the Web Accessibility Guidelines. And, it can use those to not even make changes, but suggest them. And it'll make it a lot more seamless. And what I think it's going to do, I don't think it's going to replace people. I believe it's going to increase efficiency. In fact, here, I use AI on occasion just to kind of help me get past like writer block or whatever.
Yep,
and
absolutely.
Yeah, I'm able to produce more, and it makes my job just a little easier. It takes a little bit of weight off.
Yeah, it does. And for me, I use AI literally every day, like to schedule things like when somebody schedules an episode with us. Not only do they schedule it with us, but it gets sent to our platform, and then that platform spits out a link and it emails them. And so it cuts out probably 30, 45 minutes of work that I have to do on my end. So I'm very thankful for that aspect of it. I just get into the not so excited when it starts generating articles and things like that people have not either fact checked or they have not proofread. And so it's starting to blur the lines between reality and what is factual. And it's kind of a scary thing. So if you are going to be using AI, make sure that you either say like this is AI or something like that, because you don't want to get popped for something that you don't want to be. We're seeing that with some of the Harvard things going on and all that. So
I think they're making a requirement too to say like this article is AI generated.
Yep. And so that's one thing that we are doing, at least as Aftersight. Anything that is AI generated, we put on there that this is AI generated. And funnily enough, whenever I reach out to a guest to be on the show, at the very top of my email message, I will say, this is not AI generated. All the spelling mistakes have been left in as proof that I am a human. And so I don't correct anything. And then I usually get really good responses from that because they're laughing, because usually on LinkedIn or whatever platform, they're getting spam and robots and all these things asking them to be on shows or what have you. But anyway, that was a really good question. Susan, thank you so much for writing in. And that kind of moves us on to number 2 of our 5, cybersecurity. What do you think is happening with cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity, it's interesting because of AI.
Yeah.
It has become a lot easier to fake people. It has made it easier for scam artists to do things like apply for a crap ton of jobs and fake really do a good job as far as faking potential like real looking emails from things like your bank or whatever. It's made that a lot easier. So there's going to have to be a lot of regulations, and like I'm not entirely sure what the future holds, but it is because it's so controversial. We're around the world trying to figure out how to regulate this beast we call AI. And I think the number of scams out there has already increased to an alarming amount.
An exorbitant amount. Like, so last week, Bill Lundgren, our host of Blindsight, actually it was a couple of weeks ago, he emailed me. He says, "Hey, Jonathan, I have this weird technology question." I was like, "Yeah, sure. What's up?" And he said, "I got this email from Windows saying that I needed to update my system." And I was don't click anything on a email about Windows updates. This is good for everybody. If you are getting an email from anything other than especially if it's Windows or Microsoft or something like that, updates will happen in your system, not through your email. And that is a phishing scam. So he was able to delete it. But it's actually really good practice. if you are blind or have low vision, to have somebody that you can call up to say, hey, I just got this weird looking email and my screen reader can't read it. And I know that there's an image, but I don't know what it is. Have somebody help you to look at that to make sure you're not giving away your information.
Be careful with that stuff.
It's very, very, very scary. And so
check URLs, by the way. Sorry to cut you off.
No, yeah, that's exactly where I was going to go.
Oh, good. Because people can easily just flub a word, a character, even a single character in a URL. They could even make, for instance, Amazon.com. They could make it AMAZAN.com. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, actually, one that I actually did see was one of the email spoofs was like a gmail.com, but the GMA, the A was actually the alpha signature, the alpha sign, and not the A in Gmail. And so it's, unless you blow it up and zoom in, you can't really tell if you're just reading commonly and you just see gmail.com. Our brains are used to that. But
it's really sneaky.
It was so sneaky, and it was a phishing scam. And fortunately, they caught it. But it's just one of those things that you guys need to be aware of. Number 3, we're going to move kind of quickly through these next 3 of them. Digital versus actual reality. I mean, we were talking about VR, AI, AR. All these different things are starting to blend or blur the line between real life and virtual spaces, where you have people coming home from 9-to-5 jobs or just from their jobs in general, and they're vegging out, watching TV, getting on VR, and going into these other worlds where they can be something else. And I have my own thoughts about that, but what is that blurred line starting to look like, in your opinion?
Well, in my opinion, it's funky because we're at kind of a pivotal point right now. Yeah. VR isn't doing particularly as good as people want it to do.
Right.
Like, for instance, the Oculus headsets, the Quest and all those, they're not selling a lot of units because they're crazy expensive. And honestly, people don't actually like the whole thought of, because if you have, your own world and you have a VR world, whether that be something like the metaverse or what have you, it kind of does blur the line between, is this just a place to have fun and play games, or is this a place where serious stuff could happen?
Right. It's kind of scary.
And the other big thing I want to emphasize too is that we're probably, I'm imagining a month or 2 out from the release of Apple's Vision Pro headset.
Yep.
And Apple being Apple, they really do kind of steer, like, whether you like it or not, whether you're an Apple fan or an Apple hater, they have steered the smartphone market and they run it because, if you pick up a Samsung Galaxy or a Pixel or a Motorola, it still looks like a rectangular slab with a screen and a camera.
Yeah.
And that's what the original iPhone looked like. And before that, I mean, smartphones had keyboards and all sorts of crazy stuff. And so I think that Apple's probably going to do the same thing again. Now, this first-gen Vision Pro, it's not going to sell crazy well at all. No. It's $3,000.
Right.
But it's still going to open up possibilities. They've got things like spatial video, and that's going to be coming to, like, iPhone 16.
Yep.
Where, you can record video and then watch it as if you were present in the room that you're recording in or what have you. And so I think once that comes out, I don't actually really know, because when the original Apple Watch came out, there were lots of smartwatches, but they weren't, I don't remember seeing too many of them. They weren't the most popular thing out there. I mean, Samsung had been making their Gear series at the time, watches, for a couple of years before Apple.
Well, you had things like Fitbit. I know that wasn't a watch, but you still had that kind of stuff.
Fitness trackers and stuff. Yeah. But, when Apple made the original Apple Watch, it didn't sell very well and it got made fun of. But now if you walk around, people are wearing the heck out of those bad boys and a lot of other smartwatches. So they really have popularized smartwatches and truly wireless earbuds like AirPods. So I am interested to see what will happen with the Vision Pro when it's released.
One of my concerns, at least with the blurring of lines between, I guess virtual worlds and our real world, is that the connections that we have with people right now are going to diminish in the name of technology and trying to be closer to the ones that we can't be with. And I don't really know how I feel about that. I know like FaceTime has helped with FaceTime and video calling has helped with some of that connection, but it's a placeholder for genuine human interaction that we so desperately need. And I don't want to take that away from society. Technology can get us a really long way, but when you start, one of the other things is Star Trek developed all of these sci-fi tech experiences that we're like, oh my goodness, this would be so amazing. And they have the hologram or the holodeck, where they could go into this big room. And it was actually, if you've never seen it, it's just a black room with grids on it. It's all like a grid room. And then it projected these images onto the walls and floors and gave you environmental things and you could, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty darn close to where we're getting with some of these like Oculus and the Apple gear that's coming out. And to live in those realms, I don't want us to sacrifice the human nature of reality, if that's the best way to put it, that, VR and AR are,
I don't
pushing us
either. And I think because like VR headsets right now, you can only wear them for a few hours. And I really think that, with just the design of them, I have a hard time believing that it would really replace human interaction.
Right. Not yet.
And I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I think if that ever were to happen, we'd start to realize the psychological, physical, and whatever impacts that it put on us as a population. And,
for sure.
I think we're already starting to realize that with the prevalence of texting.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For sure.
The fact that we're aware of that, that's half the battle. It
is. And there will always be people out there who are going to use it for wrong and use it for good. And so you just can't get around that. But it's just something to be mindful of. Last two we have up, business integration and security. Now, this one is very interesting to me. One thing that has started to come out of business integration and platforms and securities is you're now seeing when companies hire people, you're seeing them give permissions rather than just passwords for everything. So like if you're a banker and you have and you're a teller, you may only have permissions to access certain things on a system. And that's been kind of around for a long time, but it's even going further now to say, okay, Evan, you have permissions to only work on blind level tech, or I only have permissions to work on Aftersight. And it's very interesting that every person is now kind of in their own little box, if you will. And it does help on mitigating security risks for larger companies and businesses. And so that's one thing. But then two-factor authentication, which I truly hate, but I appreciate at the same time. But I don't know. What do you think about the idea that businesses and integrations for securities are helping or hindering?
I think they are helping. In fact, when I was in training, I'd have a password to something, but it was like an intern account when I was an intern, and I'd have access to certain things. And, that way, I didn't accidentally break something big or what have you. I think it's a great thing. I think 2FA, two-factor authentication, is going to kind of change a little bit because what it was originally is, you'd log in, you get texted this really silly one-time code.
Yep.
If you had an iPhone or now Androids actually can do a little bit of a better job because they'll just automatically paste it in.
Yeah.
But
well, Apple's will too, so long as you're using Safari.
Yeah, that's true. And now they'll actually delete those codes once they've once you paste them. And but those kind of got replaced by the infamously terrible authenticator apps. I despise because no tech company will uniquely name their authenticator app. It's all just authenticator.
Yeah.
Friggin' irritating. And then we also had things like they're not. They're like a security key, and it's just a physical device. But of course, those can be lost.
Yeah.
But now what we're seeing is a lot more biometric kind of methods being used, and specifically, they are tied to the device that you originally tied them to.
Right.
When you first set up the authentication method. So.
Well, even Apple just came out with, I think it came out with last year, but their Magic Keyboard that now has the fingerprint on it. So
I want one. The Touch, they have a Magic Keyboard with Touch ID, and it's wireless, and it's able to securely send your fingerprint to your Mac and unlock it. And they also did release a feature called Passkeys, and they're gaining support. I haven't really gotten to play with them too much, but it's basically it replaces your traditional password with a biometric authentication method, whether that be Face ID or Touch ID or what have you.
Yeah, we're not quite to level 6 security when you have to go through the 11 realms of security. You have your fingerprint, you have a dental record, you have your hair sample and your eye scan and voice authentication.
DNA and blood and all that.
Oh my goodness, that would be terrifying if we were to that level.
Not.
My uncle's actually at Lockheed Martin, and he has to go through quite a bit of that when he's working. So
I can imagine.
Shout out to my uncle. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. I appreciate, that little aspect. And all of these we're going to cover this year. So we're just giving a very short primer of what is to come. But the last one that we have is accessible technology. And what are we looking forward to in 2024 when it comes to accessible technology?
Well, that's going to kind of tie into AI as well, but I'm looking forward to really the advancements of camera tech.
Yeah.
LiDAR on the iPhone and the number of cameras and the quality of cameras and the processing power behind them has really made it possible. It's really, at least for me, I can say this, it's opened up my world with things like Be My AI. Like there's things I didn't even know that I was missing out on, like, just a crazy example off the top of my head. I was taking pictures of some of the actual pictures in my house because I had never known what they were. I used to ask, and they'd tell, my family would tell me, "Oh, that's a picture of you when you're a kid," or whatever. But I'd always forget because we have a bunch of pictures. But it kind of opened up, it made it possible for me to describe, or it made it possible for me to know what was actually on those pictures. So I'm looking forward to just more advancements in an AI, and I think we're going to see, like I said, I think Be My AI and all of the description services, while they're already great, are going to get even better. I mean, that's kind of Be My AI it's a game changer in and of itself. But I think we're going to start to see more like live description going on, to the point where you'll be able to have your phone out, and it will immediately, you might have whatever earbuds in you have, and it'll basically just be giving you like live audio description of what's going on. We're already getting there with Apple's magnifier app. If you turn on like people detection and all that, it will do that, but it's primitive, but we're getting there. And so I'm kind of excited to see what happens with that. And even things like, I guess we could count this as an accessibility translation. Like I just saw a new gadget coming out that's live translation earbuds that you can wear.
Cool.
In fact, you give somebody an earbud and then you wear an earbud, and it'll pick up their language and it'll immediately translate it into English and then or whatever your spoken language is, and then you can speak in your preferred spoken language, and then it'll translate it into their spoken language in real time.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I have not heard of that. That's neat.
Yeah, I'll have to find a pair, and
that'll prevent me from having to learn Greek and Italian when I go to Europe.
Right? Yeah, you just have
or the Mediterranean.
Just, shove it in your ear. But
that's right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. But
I'm going to add. I'm looking forward to physical technologies like canes. I know the See Me cane came out last year, did really, really well. I'm looking for integrations with that, working with Kelvin, and then other technologies for canes. Like we had, I forget the name of the technology company, but it was like RFID kind of tags where you're walking into places and it would give you directions or let you know where you're at, or like even internal GPS, like inside GPS is going to be really cool coming out.
That's going to be huge. I can't believe I didn't say that.
I know.
Oh my gosh. Because
it was on the top of my mind. I was like, oh, he's definitely going to go there. And you didn't.
I do. And
I got it.
With the presence of AI of LiDAR, that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So there are services out there that already exist that allow users to navigate indoor venues. But unfortunately, the annoying part about that is that those venues, it's really difficult to sell the idea of mapping out an indoor place because there's costs involved, there's time, effort, money, all that. Yep. But because it's becoming so readily available, we're going to see services like Good Maps and all that take off even more. Mm-hmm. And I think it's going to get to a point where it'll be just a matter of taking a few pictures of a building, and then it automatically creates the map, and using generative AI, it'll kind of try and figure out what rooms are, and then all you got to do is just kind of edit it, and it'll be a lot quicker. And I think that we've gotten to a point where we've got the technology to do good indoor navigation. Mm-hmm. It just needs to be implemented. And in fact, cannot believe I didn't mention these guys. Acrobatics. I'm excited to see where these guys are going, but they've already made it possible to use touchscreen touch. Mm-hmm. Not super, like not very tactile devices like microwaves and stuff. Yeah. Through the use of just the basic camera, not even LiDAR. Yep. And so I think that's going to be kind of a thing that, you're eventually just going to be able to walk into like an airport, a shopping mall. It'll immediately pick up that you're in a shopping mall or airport or wherever you are. And it'll show you like an accessible map that you can kind of navigate around. Yep. Or you'll be able to just pick a particular place, and your phone will give you most likely haptic and audio and if you can take advantage of it, visual guidance to that particular destination.
Yeah. Well, thank you for helping me cram 5 weeks worth of shows into one. And we're going to be expanding on all of these shows in the coming months. And so if you have any other suggestions for either guests or anybody else, or technology questions, feel free to email us at feedback at Aftersight.
It's going to take a minute.
Feedback at aftersight.org. For that, you can also give us a call at 720-712-8856. And Evan, I know we're running out of time, but man, I'm hungry. It is time for the Sandwich of the Week. All right. So, with it being New Year's, new sandwiches, new resolutions, everybody's trying to get healthy. I know gym subscriptions have gone through the roof, and now people are crowding the gyms. I have a sandwich that's kind of on the healthier side, and I hate, I'm like a meat and cheese kind of sandwich guy.
Me too.
But, I found this sandwich. It's like a Caesar sandwich, or it's a Caesar salad sandwich, basically, or a Caesar salad wrap. And those are pretty good. And so it's just, but I don't like the traditional Caesar with the anchovies. Blah. I just can't. No dead fish in my salad, please. So that's kind of my sandwich. It's a Caesar salad wrap. I'm trying to stay a little bit more healthy this year. And I know that those will fail, but I'm going to come back to the resolution here in a minute. But Evan, any sandwiches for you?
And let's see. I'm going to have to do a wrap too. There's a place, there's a place called Starnes that we frequently get for like staff lunches and stuff. They're really close by.
Yeah.
And they had a really good, I want to go totally healthy. And I mean, this is pretty healthy, but it's like a steak and lettuce and it's a steak and veggie kind of a wrap that they've got, and it's yummy. I don't know what they season that steak with, but it's pretty good. And, it's got all the veggies, your lettuce, and I think you can put tomato in it if you want to, or carrots or onions or bell pepper. So it's very healthy. It's not going to be what I'm eating today though. I actually am annoyingly craving I'm going to break the sandwich of the week rule and do another one. I'm craving a tuna sandwich.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Yeah, I know. That's a first for BLT.
My son, the other day, we were having pizza, and he goes, "Dad, if I turn a pizza upside down and put it on top of another pizza, is that considered a pizza sandwich?" And I was like,
maybe.
There's bread on the outside and stuff on the inside, so I'm going to classify that as a sandwich.
It's a pizza sandwich.
A pizza sandwich.
That's great thinking. I love it.
There you go. All right, Evan, any New Year's resolutions or words for you going into 2024?
Well, transparently, as a New Year's resolution, I am working on being less hard on myself as a person. That's really what I'm working on, because I have this thing where if I make mistakes or whatever, I tend to kind of beat myself up a little bit too much over it. Yeah. And so I'm working on that, because that's something I don't want that as a trait personally for myself.
Yep.
And I really hope to this year to all I can really focus on is just getting my place and moving out and moving into this new place. So yeah. I really hope that works out well, and that's a huge, I want that to be a success for me. So I think it's fair to say that my definitely feasible and smart resolution this year is to be fully independent, living on my own for at least a full year. And, I think then it's just going to be, normal life.
Yeah. Very cool. I don't usually do resolutions. I've moved from doing that to doing 3 words that I focus on throughout the year. And they kind of tie into resolutions in some way, shape, or form, but it's just a mental makeup. And so I did an episode with Bill a couple of weeks ago on Blindsight about New Year's resolutions and how they can be either damaging or, thought-provoking going into 24 and each subsequent year. But my words this year are faith, perseverance, and pressure. And 2023 was a rather rough year, but when I look into these words, faith that something better is coming, perseverance that I can follow through with what I know is coming, and then pressure, I want to be put under pressure, and not the negative pressure of just life, but I want to be put under a good pressure to where you're changing your mindset, you're changing your intrinsic value, your mental makeup, if you will, and put myself in pressure situations so that when I come out on the other side, I'm stronger, I'm a diamond, in essence, And I just want to be pressurized and brought to be the man that I know that I am, that I can be. And so I do those words, and I do different words every year. So if you have a New Year's resolution or you have words, we would love to hear them. Again, you can reach to us at the feedback line, feedback at AIN Colorado.
Aftersight.
Feedback at aftersight.org. I'm going to get this right eventually, Evan. And our phone number, 720-712-8856. Again, 720-712-8856. Evan, I'm going to give you the final word.
Absolutely. Anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in, and I hope I personally can attest to last year being a rough year, because it was a rough year for me too, full of loads of ups and downs and lefts and rights and crazy things. This year's going to be a great one. I feel like my words are pretty similar. I have faith that this is going to be a good year. I think mine are faith, perseverance, and growth, though. Because yes, I plan to persevere, especially when it comes to moving up here at Aftersight and moving into my new place and trying to figure out how to budget and navigate all that fun stuff.
Yep.
I've got help, thankfully, from some lovely family. So, you know who you are. Love you. You're awesome. And growth, because I'm, still quite young, maturing and all that fun stuff. And I can definitely tell I'm going to probably be doing quite a lot of that, growing and maturing this year.
Sure.
That's what I'm at least hoping for.
Very cool. Well,
indeed.
Evan, thanks for this show. It's been fun, and look forward to all year long. Don't forget to plug in your devices. And for myself, Evan Starnes, the entire AINC staff and family, we'll see you next week.